Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted and privileged to welcome a very, very senior entrepreneur and leader from India, Mr. Mahavir Sharma. Mahavir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Pleasure.
Mahavir is the past chairman of the TIE Global Board of Trustees. TIE, for those of you who don't know, is the Indus Entrepreneurs. He's the past chairman of the Carpet Export Council. He's the chairman of the Rajasthan Angel Innovators Network. He's an angel investor. He's a leadership mentor. And amongst all these things, he's a very successful businessman doing business of carpet, jewelry, in marketing and branding. Amazing journey you've had, Mahavir, so far. So I thought today we'll speak about TIE and startups.
Absolutely.
So let's start with TIE. As the global chair of TIE, tell what have been the activities of TIE and what has been your role?
So, TIE, as you know, is almost 30 years old as we speak today. It's been a long journey promoting entrepreneurship, growing as we did gradually across different continents and different chapters, different cities. I think, over the last 8 years that I was on, 6 years that I was on the board before I became the vice chair in my 7th year and the chair in the 8th year, I realized that TIE is doing so much across various ecosystems, from schools to colleges to women of late, in 2019. And there was not much noise or much impact, or people didn't realize the value or the brand that we had. So I quickly thought that we have to establish certain parameters, certain brand expectations, certain deliverables. And that can only happen if we work in partnership with various governments, work in partnership with various like-minded organizations. And that's where I think the visibility of TIE and the outreach of TIE was very, very important. And so we started to reach out to many people. We created bridges between state governments in India and state governments in the US and national governments. And we tried to create the fact that entrepreneurship, technology, startup, and angel investment are synonymous with TIE. And if there's anyone who can mentor someone on entrepreneurship or on tech or then help angel invest, it has to be TIE. So that journey or that thing is what we started to create, which is continuing in the last 2 to 3 years, even after I'm done with the chairmanship. The other thing we thought was that we give too much of mentoring, we give too much of gyan, we give too much of emphasis on networking. These are all byproducts. These will always happen. We need to put our money where our mouths are. So we need to invest, and we need to be the first check writers to startups or teams or co-founders who have the potential to grow. Whether the idea today might pivot, whether the idea tomorrow might grow, whether they might change their idea and start a new startup. But the fact that we have to help them at an early stage, at an idea stage, and help incubators and accelerators that the government of India has put across the country, we need to be relevant at the bottom of the pyramid. And C.K. Prahlad, his House of TIE, TIE has always been at the bottom of the pyramid, whether it's micro, small, medium enterprises, entrepreneurship, creating jobs, so that's where I think we started a very robust angel program. I think US angel program and the India angel program, and I continue to lead the India initiative because it was started under my leadership. And I think in the next 2 to 3 years, you will see that TIE will be probably co-investor, if not the full investor in early stage, idea stage companies in India, because we have a huge potential of 13,000 people who can invest, and we are democratic. We can be local mentors to these startups across the world. We can help them reach out to the world market. So I think those are the few things that I always thought of, and we started off during my tenure, which continue to grow and are continuing to help TIE grow as we see it.
Fascinating. So, I know and I see the activities of TIE because I've been a charter member, haven't given back as much as you have. But, one of the, and we'll have hundreds and hundreds of startup entrepreneurs listening to our conversation. What is the advantage, other than what you've just outlined in terms of knowledge and money, for a young startup entrepreneur or anyone to join TIE?
See, I'll tell you inspirational stories. I mean, I think from a traditional business of handicrafts, carpets and jewelry, to become an angel investor, to know more of tech,
Yeah.
to being part of this thing is just because I was inspired by so many people from Silicon Valley to Delhi, and their success ratios, their impact on the society, their impact on revenues, their impact on employment was immense and huge. And I said this 10%, 15% growth year in a year is not the way to go. Technology is the future. So I think, be surrounded by good people, surrounded by better people than you, listening to their inspirational stories and talking to them, becoming part of their lives and taking them along in your journey in itself is a great achievement. I think positive, encouraging, growth-oriented, technology-driven environment is not easy to find. And I think that in itself, whether you get funded or not, whether you get mentored or not, that in itself is a change that society needs. We don't need to be graded by the grades that we get. We don't need to be graded by the city that we live in. We don't need to be graded by the language that we speak. I think it's the inert ability to be confident, successful, and take people along with you. I think that's the positivity that TIE brings. And I think that's something that we, or the youngsters who are not the toppers, definitely need that. And that, is 90% of for all of us. I mean, I was never a topper in school, but I was, above average, but average, you really need to have to, grow from there. So these stories, these inspirational journeys are something that you will get 10,000 amongst various chapters, various ecosystems, various events, online or offline, that TIE does.
Fascinating. So another question that I wanted to check with you was that TIE is a global organization. For someone in, say, the Delhi chapter, how easy is it for them to access someone in another country?
Not easy. Obviously, successful people are very busy people, and they are inundated by people reaching out to them. And everyone is not as responsive as you and I could be, because responsibility and responsiveness are not synonymous with everyone. But it's not that you will on year one or event one or day one you will be able to access. It's a process. I've always realized that whether it's a relationship, and no matter what relationship, or whether it's an organization, you get as much as you give. If you give your time, if you give your energy, if you volunteer, if you work with other people, and if you're willing to help people who are below you, you will be recognized, you will be supported, you will be known, and you will be able to reach out to anyone sitting in Silicon Valley. But it doesn't happen in 1 day, 1 month, 1 year. It is a process, and it takes time. And I'm living example. I mean, I was a very non-participative, reluctant charter member for the first 7 years, and suddenly, for the lack of being a better choice, I was made the president of Rajasthan, and luckily for me, the global retreat happened in Jaipur that year. And suddenly I realized that all that 4 or 5 months of hard work to deliver the best retreat ever got me into not only recognition, but talking to people across the globe. And also the fact that Jaipur, since 2009, grew up as a startup ecosystem. And so everything collectively fell in place. Everyone worked very hard collectively. And we have an ecosystem in Jaipur that's in the top 10 in India. And I think that initiative, that encouragement, that opportunity that I got would not have happened. It took 7 years. So you don't know. And because I decided to give back that year, and I decided to do something without expecting anything. And I think we as a team delivered a great event, participants, attendance, the government of Rajasthan at that time, everything fell in place. And I think it's positive energy invites positive growth. And I think that's what happens. And since then, I've never looked back. Yes. I mean, I was, and that's what I feel. The more you give, the more you get.
Fantastic. And then that's an amazing mantra. I think any organization which has members, the more you give in it, the more you get back. Fantastic. So Mahavir, now let's talk a little bit about your next avatar, which is as a startup entrepreneur and as an angel investor. Let me start by asking, and as someone who has led TIE, a very common question that a lot of startup entrepreneurs have is, should I go solo or should I have a co-founder? What is your view?
Oh, definitely not solo. Startups and entrepreneurs journey is very tough. It's very competitive. Having people alongside you, people who are equal or better than you, as co-founders will always help. I think going solo is a very, very rare thing that I would do. I would need a team. I would not go solo for sure.
Okay. And there is also, lots of statistics been thrown around that only 1 out of 10 startups make it. I'd love to get your perspective. What, in your opinion, are some of the major reasons startups don't make it?
Multiple reasons. I mean, of course, even if you have the great idea and a great team, sometimes you don't realize the competition that there is. And people only see competition as direct competition, or they think that they're innovative, or they can sell something for free or give something for free. And see, sometimes there's so much of indirect competition. Sometimes, and you don't realize that. And that's a lot of, that takes away all your effort that you have done. You've created a product or a service, and someone can be a byproduct for someone else. And Googles and Facebooks and Amazons of the world will just eat you alive because you've given something that they can do free because they have revenues coming from everywhere else. So I think that's one reason why they don't realize there's indirect competition for many people. Number one. Number two, the lack of mentoring or lack of vision to pivot when they need to pivot or evolve. Evolution is natural. If you're static in your product or service, if you're static in not improving what you're doing, I think people have lacked and they became complacent, and then they slowly died or slowed down. So I think that's the other thing. I think innovation and pivoting and mentoring is very critical. Lastly, I feel that many a times, top line, bottom line, growth, and fundraising are challenging things to answer. So while some investors say, I need a top line, I don't care about how much you burn. Some people will say that, hey, boss, you never know if you will be able to raise the money next round or not, whether it'll be 18 months or 24 months. You need to make sure that your unit economic positive, your operations are positive, cash flow positive. You don't start to burn and lose the money unless you raise the next round of fund. So there's conflicting, and everything. And one shoe doesn't fit all, Ashutosh. The problem is that some sectors need top line, some sectors need bottom line, some sectors need both. And the next round of funding is very, very critical for them to survive either ways. Right. And so many good ideas, many great ideas, many teams die because they're not able to raise money at the right time. And that's unfortunate. And COVID has done some damage to some startups, and some startups die on their own because, it's very tough and competitive to convince every angel investor or VC or a PE fund. So it's a challenge. And I think it's a journey that is marred full of not internal lack of competence, but external forces, which are beyond the control of startups. And I don't blame these kids. But so long as you've learned something, you've organized something, and you know the reason why you were not able to raise the next round of money, that in itself is a great learning and worth a lot of money than the money that you would have raised.
Amazing. So your response on money gives me the segue to my next question, which is again $1 million question. A lot of startup entrepreneurs want to hear, and you are probably one of the best people to ask. Should one bootstrap as long as possible, or should one raise money as soon as one gets it?
I think bootstrapping is the best thing to do.
Okay.
But outside validation, even for a small equity, is not a bad idea. Okay. Because there is a Hindi saying, "Ghar ki murgi dal barabar, diye tale andhera." All these things are very, very relevant. You have to go outside of your city, your comfort zone, and say, "This is what I'm doing. Would you invest in this?" And I think it's important. But bootstrapping, nothing like bootstrapping, nothing like growing organically. But you should know when you're ready to swing into a much faster, higher ground, and that's when you should raise money. But bootstrap as long as you can. And the most important thing, which people don't realize, continue to think like a bootstrap startup even after you raise your money. If you start to splurge money and get swayed on acquiring companies, backward integration, forward integration, or cost of customer acquisition going up because you're under pressure, it doesn't work.
Mm.
Think like an entrepreneur, think like a bootstrap company. Funds are not, there are plenty of people investing, but there is a lot at stake when you have to raise the rest out of money. So it's very, very important that you continue to think like a bootstrap company.
Well said. My next question to you, Mahavir, is that at what stage should a startup start to scale up? Because again, the big question that everyone seems to talk about is pan-India, global. And I keep saying, but if you are in the national capital region, you've got 24 million people to cater to.
Yeah. So it depends on the sector to sector. It depends from city to city that you're in. It depends on who your competition is and how much money have you raised. So all these three factors being same, if we were all in New Delhi NCR, if we had all raised seed money and had enough money to spend, and if we were all in the services sector, I would say that once you have a dominant position in Delhi NCR in that service, and you have been validated by outside funding, and you're able to raise the next round of funding to go to 10 other cities in India, I would scale up at that point of time. That's when I would ramp up, because you have to have a backup plan. You have to have funds in place and cash flow in place for the next 18 to 24 months. And you should be team ready, product ready, to scale up. Unless you are ready to scale up with your team and product, don't try. Even if you have money, don't do it. Wait, because customers and consumers have a very, very short span that they give you. They only give you one opportunity. They like your product, they start using you. They don't like it, they never come back to you. Why? And that's bad publicity. And as you know very well, it takes 10 times effort to wipe off a negative statement than it takes to build one.
Absolutely. So time for a few more questions for you, and I'm going to shift now again gears and talk to you as an angel investor. What do you look for, Mahavir, before you take a decision to make an investment?
Oh, so many things. But of course, the team, as I said, is most critical. Obviously, the product, the idea are important. But the timing, sometimes I've seen products and services that are not ready. People are not ready. We also look at validation from the market. And people sometimes, startups or co-founders sometimes don't realize that when we say validation, it is not validation from the customer that's buying it, but validation from the supplier. Because is he making money while he's selling on your platform, is that viable for him to continue to do that? And the third most important thing is that, are you making money? Or are you just using a platform to take A to B and not making money in between? So it has to be a win-win situation. Every element has to be a winner, and you have to check all the boxes, no matter who's paying you the revenue. And similarly, if it's a B2B2C, then it has to be 4 winners. If all the players, from the supplier to the end consumer, and no matter how many hands it's changing, if everyone is not happy with the money that they're making or the product that they're getting, it will not work. So it's very critical for me to see, will this sustain the test of time if this thing continues, or if the supplier suddenly decides that I will not give the product to him, or the technology team quits, will this be able to survive the test of time? And all those things are very, very critical. And I think those things are very important. Obviously, get into valuation, in unit economics, on cash flow, on other things that are important, because valuation and the funds required have to make sense. The numbers have to add. All the money that you required cannot be 8 to 10% of the equity or valuation 10 times the valuation. All these things are very, very important. So we do a lot of work. We listen to them. We ask them all sorts of questions. We even go to the extent of asking them, what if you're not able to raise the money that you're trying to raise? What if it's a partial raise? What are their answers going to be? Are they ready to deal with that situation? So all these things are very, very critical. And COVID in last 2 years has made us, we have to be COVID proof. We have to be travel proof. We have to be, looking at markets to scale or to grow without people with feet on ground. So all those things are very, very important and critical and add up to this. But though it depends on product and service and the sector that they're in. Of course, patents, IPs, all that does add value. Colleges, education, and work experience does add value, but it all has to add up. I mean, if there's one red mark, you're gone. I mean, we wouldn't invest that. If there's some red flag that I see, it will not work. It will not work, because irrespective of the 9 good things that you might be doing or might have, if there's one thing that I feel will not work, we as investors would stay away from that. So it's a very, very slow process, very, very tough process. And we're not gods. We could be wrong. So I wouldn't, we've gone wrong. I have not invested in companies that have done well, and I've invested in companies that haven't done well. So basically it's perceptive. It's something that everyone thinks differently. So be persistent, continue to grow your product and service, and also reach out to as many right angels as you see fit.
Well said. So my last question to you now, and again, this is for the thousands of people who will listen to our conversation. As someone who's been there, done that, not just as an angel investor, but also led the organization which is supporting and mentoring so many investors, what would your advice be to a young entrepreneur starting off on her or his journey?
I think my advice is to everyone, forget if you're an entrepreneur or not, keep learning.
Okay.
At our age, Ashutosh, I still learn every day. Yeah. I still read a lot. I still try to question various things and try and get answers for them. So I think keep learning. Entrepreneurship, success, failure, startup 1, startup 2, startup 10, investor, investment, businesses, they're all journey. They're all there. They're all means to achieve better life, better goals, better environment, better society, but they're not the end. The end game is where, so long as you continue to evolve as a person, you continue to give back to the society, to your employees, to your family, to everyone around you, life will move on and you will continue to grow. And I think it should be, again, a journey full of happiness. Live every day of your life. Don't wait to succeed. Don't wait to have an exit. Don't wait to have a series D or E. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, it'll become a drag and you will wear out much faster than you are. Life is unpredictable. So enjoy every single day. Enjoy everything that you do, and continue to give back, because what goes around comes back.
Well said. What a fantastic conversation. And on that note of keep learning, Mahavir, thank you so much for speaking to me. Thank you for speaking to me at such length about TIE and about the amazing things you did as the global chair. It's such an amazing organization that I am also fortunate to belong to. And it's for leaders like you who make a difference in the life of all TIE members. Thank you for all the direction that you've given. And thank you for talking to me in so much detail about an entrepreneur's journey, about the challenges an entrepreneur faces, and about your words of wisdom right at the end about keeping to learn. Thank you again and good luck.
Thank you, Ashutosh. It was a pleasure and an honor to be on your channel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.